East Coast glass from the same period. It's like a freaking piece of candy or something that got melted. I mean, it's really hard to explain. I'd have to show pictures, but it'll be another subject for a future video. It's just the insane crudity of the early experimental California glass. But this is no exception. It's like a dark, electric, like fiery purple cobalt hair restorative bottle. And I dug it actually years ago. So the story is one of my favorite stories. But years ago, I was driving around and I noticed there was a parking lot that had gotten excavated 3 feet. And I was like, whoa, holy crap. I didn't even see that on the demo permits. And I just kind of missed it, but now I'm here at the perfect time. And I go into this excavation area, and they had taken it down basically like, I guess it was 5 feet, because they took it down a lift, and then they took it down another lift after that. So I was there at the perfect time. And there was this giant white square in the middle of the lot. And I look on the map, I'm like, whoa, there's a mansion on the Sanborn map. It looks like the architecture looks like it's like an early Italianate, like 1860s mansion. I'm like, holy crap. But the house was actually on that lot. And I was like, whoa, like the Privy District, that would be in the backyard. And the backyard now sits in a subdivided lot next door, which is a parking garage. And that's all taken out. That's toast. But then I'm like, what am I looking at here? What's this big white square? And I kind of measured it out. I'm like, this was attached to the back of the house. And I'm like, what if the rich dude that lived in this mansion just had a privy pit that was attached to the house, like part of the house? Why not? If you're rich, you don't want to see all the lowly serfs, seeing you go to the bathroom, make the walk of shame to the outhouse shed. Like, you could afford to do something like that. You have like a a special little bathroom addition. So sure enough, I started digging into it, and the white stuff was lime. It was all lime, and lime was used to get rid of smell. Mm-hmm. They'd throw it into a privy. And so it was like the thickest cap of lime I've ever seen. And when I got through that cap, it was all 1860s bottles. And it was huge. And I was just like, these French wine bottles and everything. There were like French products, all these French apothecary products. And I was like, wow, this guy was rich. He could, he had his own stuff that was all the way from Paris. He was like buying all this expensive French stuff. And then just all this random, whatever, just bottles. So soda water bottles from San Francisco, and just beautiful Western glass. Right in the corner, standing straight up, there was a bottle of this Pacific Glassworks hair restorative. And it was standing straight up against the corner post, and I just plucked it out, and it was still half full of the hair dye that originally came in there. Back then, hair dye products were really popular. They called them hair restoratives, and they were advertised not only to miraculously take gray out of the hair, which they did only by putting a bunch of tar in their product, and you'd literally pour tar on your head and it would make it black. And also they'd advertise that it would regrow your hair, which is totally not true. So wow. The person that used this product was obviously smart enough to realize this product was bogus, and he threw it away after only using half of it. Okay, so flash forward years and years. I was on a Facebook history page, and there's a guy that comes on there, and he's like, yeah, I'm really obsessed with my family history, my ancestor. I've researched, he was this rich guy that owned his own general store or whatever, what he was. He's like a merchant type of dude. He owned his own store, and he lived in a mansion at this cross street. And I'm like, wait a second. That's exactly where I found that hair restorative bottle. And then he went on to say, so my ancestor, it's documented that he was losing his hair at an early age. And he was really self-conscious about that. And he went out to the finest wig store in town, and he bought 3 different toupees. He bought a short one, a medium length one, and a long one. And then he would wear all three in succession. So it looked like his hair was growing out until, he like went in and quote unquote got it cut. And then he'd wear the short one again. And that's how self-conscious he was about going bald.
Oh, wow.
That really connected the whole story for me. I was like, holy crap. I have this guy, and there was a picture of him. I'm like, holy crap, I have this guy's hair restorative bottle.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just
really,
connected.
You really need to write a book. You need to write a book, document all this stuff in there, and those are some of the fun stories that would just really make it boom.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I am. Well, that's the first thing is to put it all in the video. When I make the videos, I'm making these stories, but I'm putting them into video, and I'm just going to incorporate all the pictures and then the picture of the bottle and then the whole story just through voiceover, like narration, and just have the whole thing told through that medium. Yeah. Cause young people's attention span isn't very good these days. So I figure video is the best way to reach it.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Now, a difficult question.
Anything with lots of pictures.
Yeah,
Sorry.
a difficult question before we get into the funny question that we tend to ask. Now, if you could choose, like, where to dig, like, if you had all the bottle dumps in the world or all the privies or all these, which do you think you'd want to dig? The bottle dumps or, like, these privies that may have... they have the layers. People have obviously either tossed a few things or they dropped it. Do you have like a favorite that you'd rather dig?
Are you talking about like a place?
Yes.
Like, because there's not all places are created equally. I mean,
that's very true.
You ideally want to dig if it depends on what you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for the highest quality San Francisco blown colored, amazing pieces of Western glass that are intact, you want to go as far away from anywhere where Chinese people lived as possible, because they were notorious pickers and recyclers. So anywhere where they were on the property, you're probably not going to find any good glass, because glass bottles had a deposit value back in the 19th century, and the glass works would also reuse them, and they'd reuse the broken pieces, the colored broken glass, even because it was very hard to make glass. There was a lot of ingredients involved that they had to source, and the crucibles would wear down really fast. So I'd say anywhere where the Chinese weren't around, probably where there was a bunch of young dudes who were stupid, and that means miners or lumberjacks. So when young people were either working as lumberjacks, the company that they were working for would supply them with the best possible whiskey to keep them entertained and satisfied, so they could exploit their bodies for hard manual labor. Kind of the same thing with the miners. And then the gold miners, the placer miners during the gold rush and after, some of those guys got relatively rich, but they're gold miners, and they're probably like 25 years old. So they're probably just going to buy expensive liquor with their money, because that's what people do when they're when they're kind of dumb. And so you want to go where dumb people got rich really fast and spent their money on dumb stuff. So if you think about any kind of boom towns, those are the best places to dig if you want really cool bottles. Privies are generally better, because if you lost or threw a bottle down a privy, you're not going to go and get it, or else it can mean your life. You get infected by some kind of bacteria in the crap. Not that most people knew that, but I'm sure some did. So a lot of the bottles that went down into privies stayed there, and they're just a small area where there's a lot of stuff. So that's a great resource for finding a lot of cool stuff. Dumps, though, are huge, and if they haven't been picked that much by the trash collectors, the trash recycler people, which a lot were, if you find a good dump it'll be the best dig you've ever had. Really, you just have to find the right dump. That's a hard thing to do. And
yeah, I love dump digging. One of my favorite things.
yeah, I mean, it's just endless. It's like one giant privy, but it's acres and acres, maybe.
Yeah, you can go back
Yeah, I mean, there's dumps.
day after day for years.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, the best dumps are buried underneath cities and places that are inaccessible, or places that are like deep ravines and canyons that have been filled. And so all the trash is just really preserved, waiting deep, deep down, and nobody's ever found it. And if you get it, if they do some work and start excavating there for a construction project, or you somehow can locate a place like that, that's where the best stuff is going to be, for sure.
Right.
I mean,
oh
yeah.
I got a quick question for you. Is there a certain type of probe you use, bottle probe, or a certain length that you use for locating some of this?
Yeah. Use a probe. It's a spring steel probe with a tungsten hard face tip, and it's just a T handle. And I get them from, there's a local craftsman who will mail them to you. And there's a guy in California that does it, actually, out west. The local guy is in California, and his name is Lou Lambert. And if you just go to oldwestbottles.com, you can order a probe and he'll ship it to you. And his probes are really high quality. Yeah, those are the ones there's lots of janky probes out there, but they have thin shafts, and it's spring steel coil. It's a quality steel. Yeah, and the handles are the right gauge and all that.
Old West Bottles?
Yeah, .com.
Okay, .com. All right, great.
Yeah. I could just talk forever, so stop me if you have other questions.
We are running out of time, so we're probably going to ask, I know Amanda's got probably our closing questions for you, unfortunately. Time goes back too fast, so we'll definitely have to have you again, because we love hearing your stories, especially. I do.
There's a lot.
Absolutely. So we do ask a question to every guest that comes on our show, and it is, if you could be a superhero with those superhero powers while treasure hunting, who would you be and why?
Ooh, I mean, that's a really good question. I think the obvious answer would be, to have X-ray vision, but
right.
I don't know. I think that would take the fun out of it, because then you just see exactly what you're going to find underground. So I think maybe someone like Dr. Strange, who has the ability, I think, to stop time all around him except for himself.
Ooh, that is good. I love that.
Yeah. I would just stop time, and everyone else would freeze, and then I would just be able to move still, and then I could just go dig wherever the hell I want to. And then I'd patch the hole with concrete, and nobody would know the better.
That's brilliant.
You go.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is brilliant. That's my favorite so far ever. I love it, Ned.
Thanks.
Oh, that was great.
All right. You all be sure to follow Bottle Ned on YouTube under Digging the Old West with Bottle Ned. He's also on Instagram, and I think that's in there too. And Instagram is Bottle Ned Digs the Old West. And we've
Why'd
also...
I set it up like that? Damn.
I'm like, I had to go back and look. I'm like, I thought I had it right here. Sorry about that.
Like two different names, but similar.
Yes. Technically, every time I've tried to search you, if say I couldn't find your link right off the bat, I type in BottleNed in Instagram. You come up. BottleNed in YouTube. You come up. I typed in BottleNed on
out there.
No, I typed in BottleNed on Facebook, and your name came up. I'm like, hey, that's cool. We're friends. So, We want to thank you again for coming on the show tonight.